The last time Dwyane Wade and LeBron James teamed up, it was the start of a mini dynasty, as the Heatles went to 4 straight finals and won 2 of them. Of course, it didn't start as rainbows and unicorns, as Wade and James battled over alpha dog status, but they eventually settled in and found a lot of success. However, in 2014, the Spurs avenged their improbable finals loss from the year before, and it was clear to LeBron as he looked around that physically, Wade was on a downward spiral and that his prime had come to an end. That prompted LeBron to return to Cleveland for another 3 straight finals appearances and another improbable win. While Wade's numbers since have been respectable, it is clear he simply doesn't elevate or explode the way he used to, and the knee issues he has are the type that simply won't get better. With Kyrie's refusal to call LeBron daddy, they shipped him to Boston. And while Jay Crowder helps them, an injured Isaiah Thomas put a big damper on their plans. When Dwyane Wade was bought out by the Bulls, it seemed natural that LeBron would want his old friend around to regain some of their magic. So let's look at how Dwyane Wade has played the last few years and connect that to how the Cavaliers can use him. With the Bulls, Wade used the pick and roll twice as much as any other category, and he was very effective. That said, I realized after going through tons of his makes that the vast majority of them are like this: extremely tough, usually in the mid-range, and you can see that he doesn't really blow by people anymore. I expect he can keep this up a little bit, but man, every year that goes by, the harder it is to connect like this. When he did get to the hole, he had the veteran savvy to use his body to carve out space to finish off the glass, with no dunks. If you want to know how he do playing a facilitator role, it's not the most natural thing to him, but he does have the ability to fire skip passes for threes. Imagine finding Korver in the corner. But primarily, he'd make this simple 15-foot pass after collapsing the defense. And the trick the Bulls figured out was because he wasn't a three-point threat, they'd set the ball screen at the free throw line, and that compact spacing got him assists at the hoop. More concerning is his performance in transition, where once he was part of the flying death machine in Miami, in Chicago, he was reduced to the earthbound dying quail toss, as these young whippersnappers could severely affect his path to the hoop and his attempts to make shots. It's clear to me that his knees prevent him from getting off the ground like he's used to, and it leaves many of his close-in attempts short of the rim, with little he can do to adjust. Perhaps with LeBron and Kevin Love out there throwing fastballs, he'll get some easier looks and be able to make more of these, but I'm just not sure how many he'll get and if it will significantly improve his ranking. What will significantly improve your appearance is using Harry's razors. Harry's was founded by 2 guys named Andy and Jeff, and I know what you're thinking, why the heck did they name the company Harry's? Well, then I realized, what are you doing when you shave? You are making yourself less hairy, get it? Jeff and Andy liked me so much, they decided to give everyone here their free trial kit if you visit harrys.com/coachnick. It comes with a cover, rich lathering shave gel, 5 precision-engineered blades with a lubricating strip and trimmer blade, and an awesome weighted and ergonomically designed handle. I too use Harry's razors, and it's by far the best I've ever used. So head over to harrys.com/coachnick now, and your face will be as smooth as Dwyane Wade's footwork in the post. The Cavaliers led the league in isolation efficiency and possessions last year, and had 2 of the top 6 isolation players in the league in LeBron James and Kyrie Irving. Without question, Wade can fill in the gap as far as possessions, but going through his isolations last year, the shots he generated were very tough and kept his efficiency down. Out of 55 players who isolated at least 100 times, Wade ranked 34th, behind guys like Austin Rivers, Jordan Clarkson, and James Johnson. And you can see how he doesn't even try to beat his man hardly at all, opting for superior footwork and ball fakes to disrupt the defender's rhythm just enough to find a sliver of daylight for inefficient long twos. Until Isaiah Thomas gets back, the Cavs are going to need to fill the ISO void in their offense, and I fear this will be a suboptimal option for them. At one time, Wade could have scored as easily as Kyrie does. But notice how Kyrie can get all the way to the rim and also step back to shoot threes. Without either of those as real threats, Wade will have a harder time fitting in. The prettiest parts of the Cavs offense are when they could force a closeout and get the ball moving to an open shooter along the perimeter. However, this is absolutely not Wade's game. He took 51 catch-and-shoot threes, but only hit 13 for an anemic 25% shooting percentage. Of course, many players improve their shooting as they get older, so there's hope. And Wade's mechanics already look pretty good, but I just don't have a lot of faith in him discovering a sweeter stroke for the Cavs. One could imagine the shots LeBron can open up for him, since they love to penetrate into the middle and then kick out to open shooters, but I just don't think he'll consistently knock down even the open ones, which will serve to really clog the lane with an extra defender. Add Derrick Rose to that lineup and you've got another three-point challenge shooter, and suddenly LeBron gets a lot less space to work with down low. One way Wade mitigated his bad outside shooting was by being an elite off-ball cutter and great finisher. Well, that hasn't been the case for 3 seasons now, and while having LeBron pass to him will no doubt help, look at how he struggles to finish now. I fear this will also be a problematic area to the point where he may stop cutting altogether. Wade has always used the post-up to attack smaller or weaker opponents, and he's still serviceable down there, although it's been 3 years since he was an elite scorer with his back to the basket. Where he gets into trouble is on multiple dribble backdowns that turn into an over-the-shoulder right fadeaway jump shot. Difficult at best, and tough to be consistent when it's your go-to move. Defensively, the Cavaliers benefit from adding Crowder, but neither Rose, Isaiah, or Wade are positive defenders anymore. Wade has had to give up a lot more space to his man, which allows players cleaner looks to rise up in his face for jumpers. He's also not as quick laterally, and these young kids have been able to blow by him on their way to the rim. Will Wade save enough energy to chase his man around pin downs? Was his lack of energy and effort solely due to the lackluster situation around him in Chicago? He might be able to squeeze something more than we've seen on the defensive end, but the whole Cavs defensive culture was bad last year, and it can get exposed in the playoffs if something radical doesn't change soon. In the end, if the goal was to put together a team to make one last run at a title before LeBron leaves next summer, this will prove to be a failure. I feel the Isaiah Thomas injury will loom very large, and he might not return with enough time to gel before the playoffs. There are some intriguing lineup possibilities, like starting Wade and J.R. Smith together in the backcourt, but it sounds more intriguing to me than it does viable. With a healthy Isaiah Thomas, they still suffer on the defensive end with very few strong defensive players to choose from. And even though outscoring the Warriors might be the way to go, you still need a strong defensive presence to make them work for their shots. While there are positive effects from bringing in a 35-and-a-half-year-old former elite player, I just don't think it gets them near enough to the Warriors, and it also makes them very vulnerable to the team they traded Kyrie Irving to, the Boston Celtics. Sports fans, to see more of our great NBA content and analysis, make sure to hit the subscribe button, but also click the bell and adjust your settings so you can get an alert the second our videos drop, because trust me, you're going to want them hot and fresh. You in?